Hi everyone, this is Julianne Victoria of Through the Peacock's Eyes, and welcome to my next deck review video from my deck tour series. So for this video I'll be reviewing a tarot and an oracle card deck by the same artist, Kim Krans. So it's the Wild Unknown Tarot and the Wild Unknown Animal Spirit deck, which just came out this spring of 2018. So it's brand new. Haven't even done any readings with it yet, which I will after this for the weekly reading. Now, the Wild Unknown deck was given to me by a client several years ago as a gift. And it's interesting because most of the cards, or much of most of the cards, is mostly black and white. There are some that have a lot of color, some that just have little splashes of color. And I fell in love with it right away. I would never have thought that I would have liked a black and white deck or a mostly black and white deck so much, but I really fell in love with this deck. So I'll show you some of the cards. So the Nine of Cups here is one of the more colorful ones. We have the Ace of Swords. We have the Five of Cups, which is all black and white. The Sun card's another colorful one. We have the Nine of Swords. A little gruesome looking. Father of Cups, that's like the King of Cups. The Devil card, his feet are on fire. So as you can see, it's very different from a traditional Rider-Waite inspired deck. But there's something about the simplicity of both the images, because they're not super busy, that really drew me in, as well as, I want to say, the little bit of color that's there. Because as I've mentioned, I love color. And it's those little splashes of color that speak so much to me when I'm reading with these cards. So I love this deck a lot. Now, this deck, I think the one I have is a new edition, a first edition. Because I've seen over the years some people use this deck and more color has been added. So if you do get this deck, it's still mostly black and white, but there's a little more color than the deck I have, because I've had this for quite some time. Another thing I love about this deck, actually both of these, is that it looks like the artist just sat down with a pencil, maybe a couple colored ones she had lying around, and just decided to sketch these out one afternoon on a park bench or in her backyard. Like, I can picture the artist just sitting there saying, just feeling the energy of, say, the Devil card, and just like, what is that? What comes to my mind's eye? What appears? And just drawing it out. Very simple with some pencils. And so there's this very down-to-earth, authentic, creative energy to these cards for me, and I love that as well. If you like color or cards that are more traditional, so more the traditional symbolism like the Rider-Waite, this is not the deck for you. But if you want an interesting deck that will challenge you intuitively in reading the cards, this is a good one to get. Okay. Another thing, like the kind of personal touches. So, we have the deck cover here. There's a little message inside. And it's the same with the Animal Spirit deck. There's a message inside. With the tarot, again, I only got the small box with it. I don't know if it came in a larger box with a book. Sometimes first editions don't, because people self-publish or they go through a small publisher. But it has this little piece of paper. It's obviously a font, but it looks like it's handwritten. Like, there's just this personal touch to it that I really love. Okay, now with the Wild Unknown Animal Spirit deck, it does come with this great guidebook, and it's in that same font that looks like someone just hand wrote it, and there are, there's little sketches in it too. So again, it's that personal touch of the creator, and again, her name is, see it there, Kim Krans. So I love that personal touch to it. Okay, so now the decks themselves. So both of these decks are made with a slightly thicker cardstock than average. So it does seem, I don't know if you can tell, but it looks a lot thicker, even though it's still 78 cards. But it's a little tougher to shuffle because of the thickness of the cardstock and the thickness of the deck. Now, the animal spirit cards are the same thickness, but there's only 63 cards. So it actually looks like the thickness of a normal tarot deck. Okay. The backs have, again, geometric shapes. There's lots of geometric patterns, which again just gives me like that feeling the artist just sat down and did some sketches with her pencils and voila, created these beautiful decks. Of course, it probably took her months, if not years. Okay, so demonstrating the shuffling of the cards down here. So this is the tarot deck. So it is thicker. It doesn't shuffle as smooth. It's hard for me to do the little arch after. So that can be a challenge if you like a deck that shuffles smoothly. And then of course this way, no problem. And actually thicker cards shuffle this way much better because they don't catch on each other, and sometimes it can tear the edges if the cardstock is light or thin. Okay. And then with the animal spirit deck, again, this is brand new, so I actually have not shuffled them yet. So it's much easier, 63 cards with the thicker cardstock, at least for me and my hands. And it definitely has that feel of a new deck. So as I'm shuffling this, even though it's a thicker cardstock, it may not be quite as thick as the tarot deck. Okay, so just little bits of information there for those for whom that's important for you. I will be recording after this the weekly reading for June 3rd, 2018, using these two decks. So if you want to see a little bit more of it, you can check that out. Like this video if you thought it was interesting, informative, entertaining even, and subscribe if you want to get notified when I have more videos coming up. All right, everyone, have a lovely day. And before I go, I realized I forgot to show some of the animal cards to you. So it has, normal animals, panther, buffalo, again, lots of black and white, little bits of color. Here we have bat, and let's get another colorful one. We have serpent, sea serpent. But there's a few cards that are a little different, like Cosmic Egg. So it is a very interesting deck. Let me see if I can see if there's another interesting, well, there's dragon. So mythological animals as well. And see if there's any, oh, golden egg. So there's some surprises in this deck. And I haven't actually gone through all the cards. Again, it's a new deck. But it's very interesting. And I have glanced at the guidebook just because it's so different. As I mentioned before, I don't often read the books that come with tarot decks, but with oracle card decks, because they're just such creative works of art and projects that people have done, I often go through and read up, what was their inspiration and why they created the deck and their ideas and their creative process in creating this. Okay, so forgot to show you those cards. There you go. Yeah, all right. Thank you for tuning in.